trust me, I do not recommend anybody coming to Japan the way I came to Japan. I came to Japan with $500 and a prayer, and that is not that is not life. Do not do that. But honestly, people did not let me know that I was just gonna be groped nonchalantly, and that has happened way too many times.
Welcome to the Melanated Files. In this series, we highlight and share the stories of black people from across the globe. Remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos and also follow us on social media for regular updates. Let's get into the interview.
I'm Laurin, and I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina.
Right, so why Japan?
Honestly, I did not really choose Japan like that. I had no plans as to I have no plans for anything in life. When I was in America, I was a math teacher, and I kind of got into it with my boss, and he told me, if you don't like it, you can leave. And I was like, okay, bet. And it was both the best and the worst decision of my life. I think it was the best decision of my life because it actually led me to do more and actually explore the world, because before I just wanted to be married, I just wanted to teach. I had no plans to leave America. And even though I was actually studying Japanese, I actually didn't even plan on coming to Japan either. Like that wasn't the goal. And it's so odd because when I was a teacher, I always thought that my kids could just do everything and like see the world and do such great things, but I never thought that for myself. And then like after I quit my job and I was in like such a desperate panic to find something new, I got to be what I pushed my kids to be. So best decision because I moved out here, out of my comfort zone, mostly independent. Worst decision financially. I do not recommend people coming to Japan the way that I came to Japan. After I quit my job, I was looking for jobs and I was like filling out things, and I was like, I'm gonna have to, so how do I tell this story without being too blunt? Let's see. So I had savings, and honestly, without any income, my house and all of my expenses was quickly eating through my savings. So I realized I was gonna have to leave my home anyway, so why don't I go further? And I started looking up jobs out of state. And then I'm like, you know what? Why don't I go further? And then I started looking at jobs in Canada, and then I'm like, you know what? I speak Japanese. Why don't I look at jobs in Japan? And so I looked up teaching jobs in Japan, and I did an interview online and I got it. I was so surprised and so relieved at the same time because I needed that job. Ironically, even though I had the job, I debated not coming. Like that's how stuck in my comfort zone I was. And that's why I say that coming to Japan was the best thing for me, because I stopped thinking so narrowly, I want to say, and I got to see that I could be more than just, a small town math teacher, I guess.
Okay, so what do you do in Japan?
I'm an English teacher. Yeah, like everybody else.
Where in Japan are we? Where are we right now?
Right now we are in Odori Park, and we're close to the TV tower, Sapporo TV tower. You've probably seen it like in Godzilla and other movies like that.
Ah, that's where it's from.
Yeah.
What are your ambitions for life in Japan?
My ambition is to learn the language. Before I came to Japan, I thought I knew Japanese, but after coming to Japan, I realized I do not know Japanese at all. I actually took a test on my level, and I found out that I was nan-toka ishisotsu, which kind of roughly translates to somehow able to communicate. So my grammar is not good at all. I can listen at maybe a 40% rate.
So I think they're going to be wondering where we are right now. Where are we? Look at the view.
We are inside Sapporo TV tower. Yeah.
Those of you guys who are watching, look, take a look at this. Do you see how far down that is?
See, last summer they had bungee jumping available, and the weight limit was, I want to say, 100 kilograms. Honestly, 2 years ago, I used to weigh about 340 pounds, and like over the course of a year and a half, I lost about 130 pounds. But at that time, I still hadn't lost enough to, be able to do it. And in hindsight, that's a good thing, because when I was watching people do it, I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna jump off this tower. But now that I'm actually inside the observation deck, I am so glad I didn't do it. It is so high up. I most likely would have chickened out, or I would have asked them to like push me so I wouldn't chicken out. I don't know. I'm glad I didn't do it.
All right. So what do you like the most about Japan?
Let's see, what do I like the most about Japan? That's actually a hard question. The thing I like most about Japan is that it's honestly healthier than the United States. Like doing things like Zumba and yoga, it doesn't cost you an arm and a leg. You don't have to have a car in Japan. You can get by just fine, walking on foot, taking the subway system. Food here, even fast food, I want to say, is relatively healthier than American fast food, but maybe because, there's McDonald's here too, so I can't say that. And then, tempura is also here too, and that's nothing but fried and batter, so I guess I can't necessarily say that. But the serving size is certainly smaller, so you don't necessarily overdo it as much.
So do you think that helped you with losing weight? Like, how did you lose weight?
Small gradual changes over time. So I started losing the weight in America first, and then I just continued while I was here in Japan. So at first I was exercising for like 10 minutes a day, and I want to say my diet was about 2,020 calories when I first started, and now I eat about 1,700 calories. I'm vegetarian, and I exercise for about 2 hours for 3 to 4 times a week, and it's definitely easy to do because honestly, just because Japan, there's a Zumba studio like close to my gym. There is a yoga studio close to my apartment. I can just jump rope outside, which is an odd thing, and people have let me know that, but because jump roping is kind of seen as a kid activity, but I did not have money when I came here, so that jump rope came in handy, and I love it, and I'm still doing it.
Very nice. What do you like the least?
The thing I like least about Japan is that a lot of people don't respect you as a person. In my opinion, sometimes they don't see you as human. And what I mean by that is you're kind of like a novelty. Before I got here, a lot of people were saying like, oh, people will touch your hair and things like that, or touch your skin. But honestly, people did not let me know that I was just gonna be groped nonchalantly. And that has happened way too many times. Mostly women will go and like grab my breast and will be like, what cup size are you? Which is something they know they would not do to another, let's say, Japanese woman. So I don't like the fact that people feel entitled to touching me without asking permission, which is why when I change my hairstyle, I make sure that my kids ask me in English, can I touch your hair? So they know, like, make sure I understand what you want to do before you do it, and make sure I say yes before you do it. So I make sure that they know consent for foreigners, because some people here don't understand that concept. However, people in America don't understand that concept, so I can't say like, oh, it's just Japan. It's everywhere. So I guess I can't necessarily say just Japan, but it happens a lot. That's why I also sometimes don't agree when people are like, yeah, Japan is so safe. Japan is safe as far as property crime, but as far as sexual crime, I don't really agree with that, because it's not just me. I've heard a lot of foreigners, black and white, who have just been groped, and that's not okay.
So what do you think is the general attitude towards black people here?
It honestly depends on if you're a female or a male. Unfortunately, when it comes to black men, the media has not necessarily portrayed black men in a positive light. So sometimes if they watch a lot of like American crime shows or things like that, Japanese people might be afraid of black men. However, black women are honestly kind of invisible to the media, and that has really played to my advantage. A lot of people don't necessarily know what to do with black women because we're, like I said, kind of invisible, except for, you know, our Beyoncés and our Naomi Osaka and things like that. Otherwise, yeah. So I feel like there's no stereotype except for one, which kind of goes back to the whole serious thing. Like, people think that you're DTF because there's like this conception that American women are just always DTF. But other than that, yeah, I get more American stereotypes than I do black stereotypes. So it'll be like, you say, oh my God, a lot, and what do you think about Trump? And like, do you like baseball? Do you like football? And, you know, do you like hamburgers and things like that? I don't really get any like stereotypes. And the thing that I love, that's what I should have said I love most about Japan. The thing that I love, there's no angry black woman stereotype here, and I love it. I can feel whatever emotion I want without it being like, oh, those black women are just so angry. Like, no, like here I can feel, I can be soft, and I can be angry, and I can just be me, and I do love that about Japan.
Is this a Durham Park?
Yes. Yes, it is. So yeah, the intersection between north and south, and it is so gorgeous, especially with the mountains in the background.
Yeah. Let's get a closer look real quick. So if you're ever in Sapporo, you know where to go. What's your favorite Japanese food?
Soup curry, which is kind of like pretty much only in Hokkaido. It is so good. You can get it either sweet or you can get it spicy. A lot of people have it with lots of meat. Of course, mine is vegetarian. I don't know what's in it. From my mom, she's always told me from the beginning, like, always do your best. And I feel like a lot of Japanese people really share that same sentiment. And I hear it a lot. I hear it every day from parents, the parents of my kids, and they'll always be like, ganbatte, gambaryo, and things like that. And so it's the same, so I really love that.
What has your black experience been like so far?
Overwhelmingly positive, I will say, both from Japanese people and other black people here. Like I said, because I'm a black woman, I don't necessarily have stereotypes added to me, so I can be me freely without anything weighing to it. And I do like that most black people here are excited when they see you, and it's like, yes, like let's link up, let's talk. And even if we're busy, like there's still some camaraderie between us, and I love it.
What's the funniest thing that happened to you as a black person?
It's a consistently funny thing, because I can read. People people frequently like congratulate me for reading. Like, for example, if I'm at the ATM and like I don't have to like press the English button, like people will like see what I'm doing, and then pretty much somebody congratulated me for reading. And it actually reminded me from like this clip from the Boondocks. It was the episode where Thugnificent actually moves to Woodcrest, and he's like, "Oh, I heard you be reading, and congratulations." And that has been my experience here in Japan. Like consistently, people are like, "Yes, good job, look at you." Even when I'm reading like Ehons, like people will be like, "Good job, like you're doing so well for reading." So yeah.
So how do you get like your hair done in Japan?
It depends. So there is a woman here in Sapporo who does my hair, and she is amazing. For the most part, I do stay weaved up. I have fully accepted and I have said goodbye to my edges, and I'm okay with that. Really, I am. So I mainly wear wigs, or I have crochet braids a lot. And it's kind of funny because once a month I change my hair. I can wear my hair however I want. As long as it's a natural color, I can do what I want. I can straighten it. Like I said, keep my fro, braids, locks, wigs. As long as it is natural, I can wear it. And I love that about my company. No complaints, no issues about my hair. And my kids are always excited when I do it. And I have taught them both a good and a bad thing when it comes to my hair. They have to ask me in English if they can touch my hair. And they do that consistently, and they're so good about it. However, they also go and say like, "Is that a wig?" They ask me in English. If they don't ask me in proper English, I don't answer. So I really hope that my kids don't go to a random black woman and ask, "Is that a wig?" And if so, I am so sorry. That was not my intention. For me, this is gonna sound odd. The biggest difference is driving on the opposite side of the road. I know most people are like the fact that, of course, it's predominantly Japanese, but that's never been really an issue for me. I've always been a minority, and in college I went to a PWI, so, you know, being a minority here doesn't really kind of faze me. And even the whole language thing also doesn't faze me. Like seeing kanji and Japanese written didn't faze me either, but seeing them drive on the opposite side of the road and the way that the cars are made, like I was like, what? And I did not do enough research before getting over here. Trust me, I do not recommend anybody coming to Japan the way I came to Japan. I came to Japan with $500 and a prayer, and that is not life. Do not do that. If it was not for my family and my friends, I would have died.
If you could change one thing in the world, what would it be?
It's actually more of an American thing than it is really a world issue. I would change people only knowing one language. It is dangerous, it is wrong. There are so many different type of people, and with the rise of globalization, only knowing one language cripples you. And I really wish folks in the US would take bilingual education more seriously. I wish that as a student I took bilingual education seriously, because when I was in high school, I chose Latin. Really?
Who's one person, dead or alive, that you'd like to have dinner with, and why?
I honestly can't pick one person. And like instantly, my family, if I could just get a family reunion right now, like I have a huge family. I miss my siblings, I miss my parents, I miss my cousins. Like I can't pick one person. I need my family.
What's your proudest accomplishment?
I can now jump rope. I do 1,000. I had to do 1,000 before I start my exercise. Me being able to go to the gym, work out for 2 hours, and go home and not be sore is my proudest accomplishment. Your plans are laughable to God. And like, that is a phrase that people say a lot in, at least in America, like, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Because right now, I should have still been a math teacher. I should have been in my fourth? Yes, I should have been in my 4th year of math teaching. I should have been pregnant, and I should have been married. But now I'm here. I'm bilingual, and I am not as broke. Yeah.
So what's your earliest memory?
This is so odd, but I had a boyfriend in Head Start, and I thought he was cute, and I don't remember his name, but I remember I had a boyfriend.
When was this?
This was Head Start. I was 3 years old.
If the world was listening right now, you got like 15 seconds. What's one message you would share?
The environment is important. I feel like people don't take pollution seriously. It's legit the reason why I'm vegetarian, but I'm not gonna go on that spiel because that's gonna make people be like, oh God, I'm cutting off this video, I don't wanna hear this. But yeah, like the way people pollute the air and our ocean and things like that, I just wish that people would take the world we live in more seriously.
What's one thing that Japan does really well that the world can learn from?
Food. I think there's great pride in the way that they make food here. It's not necessarily, of course they have their garbage, but even like the snack food, there's like great pride in the way that they make it, like made in Hokkaido. Like there are just so many like stamps, like made in Japan, made in Hokkaido, and people who like really go and craft and make sure that they make the best food possible and giving it their all. So I kind of wish that, and I keep speaking from a very American perspective, and that's awful because it's like a worldwide thing. And moving here, I have learned that like the world is not just America, but at the same time I'm American, so my perspective is still very, very narrow. And I keep thinking about the world as America instead of the world as the world. But I think that'll come more when I travel more, because as of now, I have only been to America, Hokkaido, and the airport in Korea.
Right. What's your favorite place in Japan? Somewhere that you'd say is a must visit?
Here in Sapporo, I'd say. Like Sapporo has, I know it's not Tokyo, and everybody's like, oh, I gotta get to Tokyo, but I don't see the point. I don't like big cities. I don't want to go, and I know I shouldn't say that because I've never been, so how can I say I don't like a place that I haven't been? But it's just too much for me. I've seen from the pictures. I don't want that at all. But here in Sapporo, we have amazing food, and people will tell you Hokkaido has the best food. We have, I want to say, 1/3 of Japan's farms here. We are also the northernmost prefecture, so we have the coldest water, which apparently makes the seafood taste better, according to my students. I don't know, because I have a seafood allergy. Yeah.
So what do you like the most about Sapporo?
I like just Hokkaido in general. Definitely does have 4 seasons. In the winter, it is white and it is gray. It is snowy. This winter didn't have as much snow as my first, but yes, it is snowy, snow everywhere, and it is gorgeous. Like lots of people come here in the winter time to ski and snowboard and do all sorts of winter sports. And Sapporo, of course, is famous for the snow festival. I do not go because it is jam-packed full of people. But yes, ice sculptures and lots of BMX sports and things like that. So I generally kind of steer clear it because even though sometimes I can be extroverted, there are times where I just cannot deal and it's just way too crowded for me. The springs, like we have my favorite types of cherry blossoms, Ezo Yamazakura, and they're these bright pink. It is just, they're just gorgeous. We have the normal ones, what are they called? Some Yoshino, the typical like light pink, white ones. And there's also Shirare Zakura, the like hanging ones that kind of look like willow trees a little bit. So, oh my gosh. So spring here is gorgeous, and it is like light green and pink. I love it here. Summer here is awesome because it does not get too hot. The hottest it was like, I want to say 27 degrees in Chitose, or about 30 degrees in Chitose, and I bought a fan, and I was upset because it was a supreme waste of money, because after a week I didn't need that fan anymore, so I regret buying that. To this day, that thing has sat in my apartment and collected dust, and I'm sure that this summer I'll only need it for that 1 week. And fall is also nice, especially Hokkaido University. Like the leaves here, like they just change like a powerful everything, like powerful red, powerful orange, like the colors are just so vivid, and it's very picturesque here. So yeah, we definitely have 4 dramatic great seasons in Hokkaido. Don't go to Tokyo. Tokyo sucks. Go to Hokkaido.
What's dating like in Japan?
Oh, dating. Oh gosh. Dating here is a mess, and that is half my fault and half the guy's fault. I'm not taking full responsibility. I date anybody who wants to date me. I date foreign people. I date other foreigners, and I date Japanese men. In my opinion, there are pretty much 3 types of Japanese men here. So for example, there are people who just want a foreign person just for the sake that you are foreign, and that is it. Like there are plenty of gaijin hunters and you want nothing to do with them. Like you'll be like, no matter what you do and no matter what you say, they just want you. Avoid those people. They are trash. There are Japanese men whose English isn't that good, or who speak Japanese only. And those men actually usually are very good men. And I really wish that we could make it work, but because my Japanese is so low, usually by the 3rd date with that guy, I can't communicate, and we can't communicate, so we're just sitting there in silence. I have let so many good men have gone just because I can't speak. And like a lot of people keep saying like, oh, you should get a Japanese boyfriend, as the answer to all of your issues here in Japan. Like, for example, if I'm short on money, people will be like, oh, if you had a boyfriend, you wouldn't be short on money. Or if I'm having trouble ordering something, or I'm having trouble studying, people are like, if you had a Japanese boyfriend, you would understand that concept. Like, no matter what issue I have here in Japan, people's solution usually for me is to get a Japanese boyfriend. But like I was saying before, 3 types of guys. Gaijin hunter, 3 types of Japanese guys. Gaijin hunters, good men whose English is super low, and the last type, Japanese men whose English is very high. Avoid them at all costs. If he speaks English, if his English is good, he is talking to every woman. And also being here, I've learned that there are a couple words that Japanese men say that you need to make the first date your last date. I'm from Tokyo, avoid that guy. I'm a pilot, avoid that guy. Please avoid any and every pilot. Dating foreigners. Dating foreigners is kind of sad here. Most foreign guys are looking for Japanese women, and like have told me to my face that they are looking for Japanese women. For example, I downloaded Tinder my first year I was here, and when I got here, this is gonna sound bad, but my preference is black. So every time I saw a black guy, I instantly matched him. I didn't even read the profile, I just matched. And this guy matched me just to wish me luck on our shared pursuits to find a Japanese spouse. And after I read the message, this dude unmatched us. I've also been to the club, and the guy, I went there and I'm talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, you cute, but I didn't travel across the Pacific to end up with some black chick." Yeah, that hurt my feelings, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, people are very, very detailed on their not love of black women, but it's okay. It doesn't hurt. There is one thing, you have to be careful when you are dating here. I wasn't as serious at first, my first year, like I thought I was, and I've inadvertently hurt people, and I regret that. There's a lot of cultural things, people, dating doesn't necessarily go the same way in different countries than it does in America. So like I've misread intentions, and I do feel guilty about that in hindsight. But yeah, it's kind of crash and go, but it's the same wherever. Dating is just a very complex game.
What's a common misconception about Japan?
The biggest misconception, that Japanese people follow all the rules. Before I got here, I did watch things about Japanese life. I didn't do as much research as I should, but people are like, "Oh yes, Japanese people follow all the rules. They don't steal, they don't jaywalk, and all this other kind of stuff." And they don't eat on the subways, and there's all these strict rules that people break. I see people break every single day. So this whole Japanese people are just robotic and follow all the rules and things like that. Yeah, biggest misconception.
Is there something in Japan that you think deserves more media coverage that it doesn't get?
As far as Western media, I really feel like they should really cover Japanese people enjoying life, because it happens. There's just so much nuance that I feel like Western media doesn't show about Japan. But I guess it's kind of the same, because Japanese people don't really have nuance when it comes to foreigners either.
Any advice for black people looking to move here?
Move. Even though the way I did it was incorrect, definitely just go out there and move. It's definitely worth the move. Even if the experience ends up terrible, it's actually good to legit have that experience versus just not doing it. Definitely just get out there and move.
What's the biggest risk you've taken?
Moving here. Definitely moving here. Everybody says even my job was make sure you have over $1,000 before you move to Japan. I had about 500 when I came here, and my credit cards and things were maxed out. So legit only $500. That money was quickly eaten up when it comes to bills, food, buying a bed, and things like that, and inadvertently getting lost. Yeah. Make sure you have some more finances. Don't just come out here like that. I don't recommend it. It was a sad first month.
How was your Japanese?
My Japanese is crappy, and I've actually stopped explaining to people that my level is low and just jumped in it. There's no need to be "Oh, my level is low." They can hear me. They know my level's low. Just jump in it. And after I stopped, apologizing for my low level, I've actually increased. It's gotten better.
Any advice for people just starting out learning Japanese?
Just make your mistakes. It's okay. Japanese people won't correct you, I have to admit. Because, for example, like when I buy things and I didn't read the receipt, I would say hoshikunai, but I should have been saying iranai. But after I actually heard somebody say it and then I started saying it myself, the lady was like, oh, your Japanese is getting better. And it's like, I've been coming here for months. Why didn't you tell me iranai? Like, why did you just let me why did you just let me stumble for months? I don't get it. Japanese people usually won't correct you, which is why you should, get more Japanese friends. However, I find a lot of the times your Japanese friends will usually kind of want to speak English with you. Another reason why I don't want a Japanese boyfriend. Sometimes when you're with Japanese people. Is there
something going on today?
I have no idea. I think so.
Oh, back to the interview.
Sometimes when you're with your Japanese friends, they take over and they don't let you order your food, and they just take over and you're not able to speak. And they also teach you what they think you should learn, not necessarily what you want to learn. So even like having Japanese friends does not mean true success in learning Japanese. Isn't that odd?
Where can people find you online?
Let's see. I'm on Facebook, Laurin Angela Young, Laurin Angela Young. I have an Instagram, originalblurred92, but I don't really post anything up there. I also have fan fictions, Midnight's AM Child, because I'm edgy like that. Yeah, be open to the changes that you make when you come here. My personality has changed drastically to the way that I was in America, and I'm okay with that. So yeah, be open with the changes.
Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to share your story or have us visit your region, send us a message on any of our social media platforms or via our website.